Right, so we are live. Hello, hello. Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are and whenever you are. Um, Welcome to this little, well, not little actually. It's it's really a distillation of actually of years of work that I have finally distilled into, well, at least part of what I will share here today with you. So let me just pop in the chat and write a little hello. Hi and welcome. Okay, so just a little note that when I'm going to be starting the little presentation here, I won't be able to see your comments. So that means that I will attend to any comments or questions at the end um, of this little um, presentation. Maybe I should actually write that on the cues and comments. Will be attended to after the presentation. Mm, all right, so here we go. So let me just jump on over to my little Canva slide presentation. Yay! So excited about this. I actually worked my ass off creating this. I'm really proud of this little presentation. um, so this is actually the first lecture, what I call the field lecture, um, in a journey that I have called from signal to sale. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end. But basically, what this little journey, not the whole journey will be shared today, just a part of it, um, is about, is really what I call the offer excavation method or model. And as I said, it's basically a collection of my what do you call observations over, well, actually over quite a few years. And yeah, I guess for some reason it ended up being now that I actually distilled it into something concrete. So yeah, I have some notes here with me that I might take a look at once in a while. um, so yes, so let's see. So basically, where do I want to start? Basically, the whole kind of like premise or hypothesis or like question of excavation or exploration that led to this was this part with um, like, why do some offers sell and others not? Why does some content land and others or and other doesn't? Not that we are going to go into content today, but that's kind of like the whole frame of this. So yeah, so that's what we will be diving into. And also, I think I want to start with um, what kind of started or propelled or set in motion this little um, journey and this lecture, actually. And because it leads to what we will be talking about. And it's really a good entry point, I think. So this Sunday, I was sitting in my chair, comfy chair, um, with my baby boy, and we were just sitting there. And suddenly I had this one sentence drop in. Um, And the sentence was, and if you were on my stories this weekend, you will have seen it. So the sentence was, every offer has a voice. And I was like, huh, that's curious. I like that. And I could feel that there was something more to that. But right there, after that sentence, every voice or every offer has a voice, like that was it. That's all I got. It's like, okay, fine. I'll take it, hold it, leave it for later because there was nothing else around that just then. And this is actually what we're going to talk about today. Um, and in the next slide as well, because this is where a lot of offers or ideas, especially if you're a high capacity, high velocity, ambitious driven, if you want to call yourself that, woman. This is often where the ideas can collapse. Let's see, let me just look at my notes here. Yes. So every offer, every book, every story, every piece of content, every um, scientific breakthrough, like it's really starts as a signal, right? It starts as a almost like a frequency that ripples through the quantum and kind of hits your field, and that's kind of like the first ping, right? Let's see if I can. Yes. Okay. So let me see if I can explain this. So let's say, like, often when a signal comes, like with my little sentence there, the signal is it's like the precursor of the whole thing, right? It's like the mm, I don't want to say taster, but it's like the first little nudge. Hey, I'm here. Do you want to collaborate? um, so, in a sense, it's actually often a little unclear or a little, it's like incomplete. Sometimes the ideas can arrive fully formed, which happens sometimes. It often happens for me if it's um, like a free thing or just like a small thing, then it can arrive fully formed. But if it's a bigger thing like this one, then I usually just get like a sentence or an image or um, an idea that keeps coming back, a nudge from a book. Like I can give you another example before I get to this to this little slide. I was opening an email today from it was actually a book, like an online bookstore, and I was like, okay, but I don't really need any new books. I have enough that I haven't read. But they say that books are like wine, right? that some stand on your shelves for a long time, and then exactly at the right time they kind of ping you. But anyways, I was looking through this email, and there was this one book that kind of lit up, and that's like for to me that's another little another signal. That's another way that ideas can signal me. And I was like, ah, interesting. What is this book then? And so I looked closer, and I was like, ah, something in me. There was something there, right? There's something you can't right put your finger on it, and again, incomplete, but that's okay, right? Um, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. I'm not really sure what it wants, and it's not like I need more more projects, but there's something there. Um, so I went online, or I clicked the book, put it in the basket, but for some reason the store I was on my phone didn't work. was like, okay, I'll leave it. And then later on, I had to go renew some books for my son, my oldest son. I was like, maybe they have it in the library. I was like, they do. And it wasn't, it's a brand new book, and it wasn't, what do you say, rented? It wasn't lent out. Um, so I was like, okay, let me, uh, order it then. And so I did. And so that's the first step, right? And this is where we kind of get to where the distortion can set in, especially if it's an offer, if um, it's something that we really want to get out there, right? Yeah. So let's say that you have a ping. You have, like I had with that sentence, you get the ping, you get the idea, and then, and this is what I talk about in the hidden architecture masterclass, which is like a 30-minute audio masterclass, $22, by the way. Um, I talk about the split, right? The split framework. So you have two architectures really that can activate when you have an idea. Either, well, usually it's actually the mind gets activated, right? The old conditioning, the old architecture, the human architecture gets activated. And that is like there's a split second between the idea and the, what would you call it? The action. Like, for example, with that sentence that I talk about, every offer has a voice. Like that arrived completely fully formed, and it was just like, dude, period, stop, hold it, just hold it, right? And this is where a lot of us, and myself included, by the way, for a lot of years, actually, this is where we often collapse because we really want to actually get to the um, like to the outcome. Like the mind wants to get to the outcome. So this is where the urgency, the pushing, again, getting to the outcome comes in. And that's my little doodle there because that's the distortion setting in, right? The distortion overriding the pure signal, which in this case of this sentence, every offer has a voice, um, was like I could have taken that sentence and immediately gone to post it. But because I have experience with it and I know, and we're going to get to that as well, I can discern the energy in the signal. I simply let it sit. I simply let it hold in my field. And so I just wanted to say with this that when we do this, fall into this, um, and for example, implement right away, right? That is when the thing usually doesn't land, in my experience. And again, there's a nuance to this, but um, as a framework, as a guideline, um, that's that's how I have experienced it. So this is what I call the distorted signal. Um, because the mind comes in, overrides the clean signal, and we're actually kind of, I don't want to say pushed off course, but there's like a fracture in the signal, right? So it's not a clean signal, kind of like when you tune into a radio station and there's like this noise, right? It's not, we haven't dialed it completely in, so it's clean and it's like clear. Same thing here. All right. Let's see. All right, so the clean signal. And again, let me know if you have any questions, and I will attend to them afterwards. Um, yes, so just to reiterate, the signal is the earliest form of the work. It's like the sprout, if you will. Um, my baby boy and I are planting little seeds in our windowsill here, so that's a really good metaphor. um, so this is actually before it has been translated into something structured, like take this um, field lecture. Because often, as I said, what we do is we go from the idea straight into the implementation. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that sometimes that's not what we need, right? Sometimes we need, sometimes the idea needs to gestate, and that can take an hour, it can take 2 days, it can take a month. That's not really up to us. That's kind of like with the seeds, right? It's not up to me um, when the seeds sprout. It's just, I just water them. And in this case, watering simply means holding the energy or letting it sit, leaving it alone, basically. Um, so I could have written actually gestation here in the parenthesis. I didn't, however. So this little circle here is what I call the offer excavation model or method. So you get the real quick, because I'm not going to go into all of these today because that's what we do in the 4-week immersion. Today we're just going to go into the signal part, and I will give you the discernment, like a signal discernment tool as well. Um, so because this is really the first part of the immersion. Right. So you get an idea, an intuitive ping, a repeating idea, a phrase, like I said, with my every offer has a voice, which was again the starting point of this. Now the cycle of this particular framework, as I said, it's something that I've actually been working with or on for years, but I have not put it into words until now. So some ideas are bamboo shoots, and some are, I don't know, basil seeds or whatever, whatever grows fast. Um, because bamboo shoots can lay in the ground for like 5 years and then suddenly they sprout. Um, yes. So the let's call it a life cycle. The life cycle of this idea, of this from uh, signal to sale, this immersion. Like this, the earliest form of the work was that sentence, right? Every offer has a voice, and I was like, oh, okay, that is really, I feel that. I feel that. That is, there's something there, like kind of like with the book. Um, that came to me today. And so I simply just let it sit in my field. But then this was actually during Sunday. Then I started working with it, like really, um, I was digging, right? So this is where the idea really turns into a fossil, right? That is already there. It's fully formed, but you kind of need to excavate it. I think Stephen King actually uses that analogy uh, for book ideas as well. And I agree with that. I think that's correct. So excavation and quantum echolocation. Now, again, I'm not going to go too much into that, but I just want to say that the quantum echolocation of your offer, of your idea, offer idea is around the how it's positioned. Like it has a natural position in the field. It has a natural place in your constellation of offers, if you have several, which you probably have. Um, it has a specific delivery, a specific price, and you will probably have um, experienced this yourself. So that really happens in this stage. And then the next is actually the resonance test. And I'll give you another example. I had an idea. Um, when was that? I think it was Thursday last week, for a one-to-one where this is basically what we do, right? This is the whole journey, um, called the Wild Magic Offer Lab, and it's a one-to-one. And the day that I had that idea, and this is what the resonance test is about, um, it was just an idea. I didn't do anything, but in that, oh, no, I can't speak right now. During the day, I had like two potential clients for that offer show up. So that was the field responding, saying, yes, this is it, go. Um, and then you have the implementation and the selling, the sales, right? And if you are receiving the unfair advantage, like 7-part transmission series about intuitive intelligence, you will have, I think today, have received um, an invitation to that offer. So that was the implementation, right? But the unfair advantage actually came after. So, and then the whole thing just repeats. Um, yeah. Okay, so let me just see here. Yes. Um, mhm. Okay, so again, so the core mistake or collapse, the core split is around like we have an idea, but we don't fully excavate it. And we don't even actually get to this part. We jump straight here, and again because of that distortion, the mind, the validation architecture activating, we never really get the full circle. Um, yeah, so we kind of prematurely um, put our little seed into the world when it was actually just a seed that we needed to hold in our field until the next step sprouted. And so again, that is really the moment where we collapse the idea because we don't hold the tension. Um, Okay, and by the way, if you can hear someone screaming in the background, that's August, our baby boy. He's not happy right now. Yeah, okay. So let me just have a look here. So we did the gestation part. Yes, and actually also I think I dropped a little nugget in the frequency room, the Telegram space, um, about this. Um, Like we often mistake gestation for nothing happening. Like that's when the again back to the seeds. That's when the seeds are in the soil and things are actually moving, but it's unseen, right? And so we that's when we often get a new idea. funnily enough. and and we actually don't stick with the one we already had. And so when that doesn't lead to anything because we kind of just jumped right here, right? We kind of blame it on ourselves, or we blame it on that the idea wasn't good enough, or maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to do, right? That's where that kicks in. When in reality, it was just gestating. It was working, but it was working in the unseen. Um, so let me just see here. Yes. Um, Yes, one other thing that this is actually like if you would describe an offer idea as a like a seed, then this is the root, right? This is the root, what do you call it? Network? Network of roots. So it's that's kind of like the structure, the architecture that the idea is actually built upon. It is the idea, if that makes sense. So let me just see here. There's something else I wanted to say here before we move on, but mm, okay. All right. As I said, I'm going to return to the chat, the comments, questions afterwards, if you have any. All right, so I want you to have this one because this one, I have to tell you that this one I've actually been working on, like really honing the the precision of this for well quite a bit quite a bit of years actually, and I call it the signal discernment framework. And this is when I started out, I remember I had a client that asked me, but how do you discern intuition from mind? And I was like, that's a good question. So, that question is what I'm trying to answer with this little tool or framework that I want you to have, um, to discern and dissolve the friction around ideas. It's basically a tool to discern where um, mm, like what the shall I say the field is saying, or um, like where you are. Okay, so let me see if I can explain it here. So you have signal emergence, right? You have the first little nugget of an idea. Um, yeah, and then you have the friction, and the friction doesn't always have to be the mind, right? As I said, um, sometimes you don't have any resistance to the idea, but the idea just needs to gestate a little bit. Um, so, so this is actually, if you have friction, you have an idea, you have friction, you have some kind of feedback. That is actually really cool because that's where we can discern what the next step is. Uh, yes. So let me just see what I had on the next. Yeah. Okay. So I have actually three um, key, what would you call it, like states that I've identified, which is either it's mind, usually, very often, it can be mind resistance, or it is that the energetic, I call it the energetic wave, like with that sentence, every offer has a voice. That was a full wave, if you could call it that, complete, right? There was no extra guidance. So that's where because I didn't really have any go share or do this or just it was just that sentence. So it's like, okay, I'll just sit with that then. So that's the signal gestation, right? That's the idea gestation. And then there was another thing. What was that? I had another, I think that was another idea or something. It must have been an idea. I don't remember which one it was. But when I kind of tapped into it, the energy kind of just went right, it disappeared. It's like I looked into kind of like into the field and I could feel that the energy collapsed, and it wasn't, it wasn't fear and it wasn't gestation. It was actually feedback on the sense, or in the sense that the field was saying no, not this way, that way. So that's actually another like a third option, that is that the idea is actually not for you. Um, Let me see. Uh, yes. Okay. So you can ask these three questions. Does the idea keep returning and you haven't acted on it? Then it's most likely mind resistance. And so, does the idea feel incomplete but alive? I could also say, does the idea feel alive but complete for now? Then it's signal gestation. Or does the energy disappear when you kind of try to pursue it? And you can apply this to content too, as by the way. Then it is field misalignment. And your body will tell you that too, because you simply won't have the energy to kind of pursue it. All right, so yes. So if it's fear, mind resistance, move forward. Do the thing. Um, does it feel like I got that sentence? That was complete, but it was alive. So that's signal gestation. So stay with it, let it gestate. Or is it flat when you kind of feel into it or look into it? Does it feel like it's collapsing, or it almost feels like I do like this because it feels like a dead end? Then that is actually misaligned to you. It's field misalignment, and not that you are misaligned. It's basically the field saying, no, this isn't for you, and it's a redirect. Um, Let me see. And by the way, you can screenshot this if you'd like. No, but actually you don't have to, because you'll have access to the replay. So you can just come back um, and watch, or screenshot, or take notes if you want. Let me see. Okay, so another thing I want to say, actually, if we go back to this one. So also, when we go from the idea into implementation immediately, often what happens with an offer is that it actually, like, it becomes under excavated, which means that trickles down into the positioning, the messaging, the content, the sales. Yes, so that's just like an FYI. So, yeah. Mm, yeah. All right. Let me just hold here. Right. So, okay. I don't think I have any more. I don't think I have any more notes here that I want to call upon. Okay. So, as I said, this offer excavation method is what this 4-week live immersion, where we walk through it with one of your offers, If you can handle multiple offers at the same time, fine, cool, you do you. But I would recommend just following one offer for those 4 weeks. Um, yeah, just because we want to actually, stay with it and sell it. Um, yeah. So from signals to sale, that is. Let me see if I can go back. Yes, this is basically what we will be doing in that immersion. So it's a group program. If you want the one-to-one, then that's the Wild Magic Offer Lab. But it's also a different price. So, right. So from signal to sale is a 4 week live immersion into the full movement of an offer, right? From signal to sale. So basically, it's that we meet each week for a live session and a full Telegram day, um, where I will be, helping you calibrate the signal, calibrate your field, um, and to kind of just support what is emerging. So the space between sessions is intentional because it is this is your lab. This is what you will use for observation, development, and signal stabilization. So it's a working container and it's not conceptual, it is applied. It is applied intuitive intelligence. Um, yes. So from signal to sale, there are two ways that you can join if you feel like it. There's a live container, and then there's the recorded accesses. And I have the prices on the next slide, and that needs a little bit of context as well. So let me just go through this. So the live container is live with me, right? So that's direct participation. I am with you in the process, and it's hands-on real-time refinement and signal stabilization. Um, and then there's the recorded access, which is where you get all of the recordings, but there's no live access. So this is, full access to the material, the framework, the frameworks, um, and it's for you if you desire to work independently. Oh my god, my son's like screaming. Okay. Yes. So from signal to sale. So during this lecture window, and I'm not just talking about tonight because I don't fancy being pushed to anything. So I like to take my time to kind of like feel into it. So I've decided that this, like the what I define as the lecture window is, well, from now and then till Monday, and that's what. So that's 20, 21st, 22nd, 23rd of March. So um, that's when these lecture window prices are available. So the live container is 888 till Monday, and the recorded access is 498 till Monday, and after that the live container will be 2222, and the recorded access will be 888. Yes. So um yes, and if you want to join, I do have the links ready. You just let me know if you want in. And yes, and then we start Thursday, March 26th. That's when we kick off. Um, yes. So let me take a sip of water here and let's see. I'll move to the questions. I'm going to move back to here. Uh, right, so you have the prices there. Um, and then, yeah, I think I'll just leave it there. So let me just go back so I can see if you have any cues or any, um, yeah. Oh no, Marie, I didn't see your, sorry about the clicking noises then. I think it's probably, yeah, I don't know. Um, Let me see. Okay. So I really hope that you can hear me now. Otherwise, I'll have to I'll have to re-record. Um, yeah, I'll have to re-record it maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it's when it moves. Okay. Thanks for that, Marie. Till next time, I'll see if I can either fix it or find another set of what do you call it? Earphones. All right, cool. Actually, maybe we should take it back to the here. Um, the clean signal here, so you can kind of have a look at that. All right, all right. Any questions? Any? Yeah. Any thoughts? Or was it somewhat clear? So as I said again, like often the let me just go back. The often the where the like people think they have a sales problem or a strategy problem or a content problem, and while that or a messaging problem, and not while that may be part of it, often when it's when it's intuitive, spiritual, highly gifted, highly like attuned entrepreneurs, that's something you can that's a skill, right? But it's usually that the offer is actually under excavated, um, and that we kind of need to dig a little deeper and not collapse when there's no immediate external feedback. Um, and I know that that is easier said than done often. Mm, yeah. I really like this the quantum echolocation. It's kind of like you're a quantum bat or something. Anyways, all right. Let me just see here. Mhm. All right. I'm just looking at my little dashboard here. Okay. Okay, Marie. Cool. So it's clear. That's good. Well then, let me just go back here and go back to the last slide, I think, is any cues. Yeah. So that's actually it. That's the little field lecture on the offer excavation method. Um, yeah. So if no more questions, I think that's it for today. And as I said, you're welcome to come back and I don't know if you can actually download it, but if you want to, you can do that. Um, and yeah, do use the discernment tool. It's uh, really really useful. So all right, so thank you for today, um, and maybe I will in see you next Thursday. If not, have a good one. Bye for now. Let's see if I can actually log out here.